everyone, it's me, New York vocalist Benita Charles, again for another episode of Singing Tips. And I'm so happy today that this is a special singing tip because I have a special guest today. As you saw in the title, I have Minister Angela Williams from Florida today, and she is going to bless us with some words of wisdom. But first, I'd like to get into the show and talk about another singing tip. I'm so excited. This is tip number 19. I can't believe that it's been 19 tips that I've been giving to beginner singers to help them to become professional singers. And it's just been a joy for me to give back, and the feedback that I've been getting has been so great. People have really taken to these tips. People are encouraged, and that's exactly what it's all about. So I want to just give a little bit of a background about singing tips because I was inspired to do these singing tips because I had beginner singers who wanted to learn how to sing, and they didn't know anything. They didn't know what to do. So I took them from the first thing that you need to do, which is develop your talent. But the inspiration behind the way that I'm designing this show came from a movie about James Brown called Get On Up. This movie came out in 2014. It was, I feel like, a little underrated because it came and went, but it left such a lasting impression on me that I've decided my mission is to make this movie popular again. The star of the movie was Chadwick Boseman, and he did a phenomenal job. He really should have gotten an Oscar. So I'm hoping that by talking about this movie every week, if you haven't seen it, please go see it. But there was a part in the movie where James Brown, his manager, played by Dan Aykroyd, said to him, "This is show business. You worry about the show, and I'll take care of the business." And James Brown said, No. I'm going to do both. And it really made me think. I never thought about it this way. I've heard that term show business all the time, but I never thought about it in terms of breaking it down. And it's so true. There's a show part and there's a business part. And you really have to do both. And for years, I've only focused on the show part. I took vocal lessons, I took classical lessons, I learned technique, I did talent shows, I learned how to sing in front of people, I've done gigs where I've gotten paid, but I've always had the mentality of just performing, and I've never thought about it in terms of the business, and it's so important. And especially nowadays, you can pretty much fund your own career and have a career. You don't need a middleman. You don't need necessarily a record label. Now, I'm going to say that you can't totally rule out the major record labels because you get maximum exposure, you get paid, but you're not beholden to them. You can do it yourself. And that's what Singing Tips is all about, is helping you become a professional singer, but have the business mindset to make the money at it. Because you know what? If you don't make money at this, it's just a hobby. And God gave you this gift for you to make your living off of it and to support yourself, because you are giving something special to people. When you give your music and your voice, you are giving something special, and you should be compensated for that. It's nothing wrong with being compensated for that. And I had to come to that mentality because I kind of always thought that asking for money or asking to get paid was something kind of bad. But it's not bad because you are giving your talent to people. You are making people happy. You are healing people. And that's powerful. And you should be compensated for that. So for the last year, I've been inundating myself with a lot of people in business and marketing, and really trying to change my mindset and understand that it's not wrong to want to be compensated for giving your talent. So that's what Singing Tips is all about. Now, we've been in the show part, And then we're going to eventually go to the business part, because there's an aspect of the business part that will help you get paid. But right now we're focusing on the show part. We've had 18 tips. I can't believe it. The first 10 tips was about your talent, and that's your foundation. You can't do anything if you don't have your talent together. So the first 10 tips, we talked about getting your voice together. We talked about taking care of your voice. We talked about getting a professional voice teacher. I'm not a voice teacher, and I'm not on here claiming that I am. I encourage you to get a professional to help you with technique, to help you with breathing, because all of this is going to help you when you perform. Now, the next 10 tips that we've been talking about is singing in front of people. Now, you've gotten your foundation together, you've been practicing, but all the practicing in the world is not going to help you if you don't know how to sing in front of people. So the next section, which is performing live in front of an audience, we've been talking about that. Now, tip number 11 was for you to sing in front of an audience. Tip number 12 was for you to project your voice when you sing. Tip number 13 was how to handle difficulties on stage. Tip number 14 was singing with a live band versus using performance tracks. Tip number 15 was engage your audience. Tip number 16 was how to stay motivated when the going gets tough. Tip number 17 was equipment that every artist or musician or singer should own. Tip number 18, last week we talked about performing with a live band. So this leads us to tip number 19. So this week we're talking about always use a set list. Now, this is something that I think people will probably say, oh, that's so minor. But I would like to share with you why I think it's important. From experience. Now, some of you might wonder, well, what is a set list? A set list is a sheet that you have of the list of the songs that you're going to perform during your show. And I honestly like having a set list because it helps everyone know what's going to happen, what's coming next, what's going to happen. If the musicians need to set up for certain songs, like for instance, this is especially good if you're doing the corporate gigs where you have all different kinds of genres of music. Now, some like disco, for instance, or Motown and all that, some songs require more setup. So if the musicians know exactly what's going to go next, then they can kind of mentally prepare themselves, and also physically prepare for the next song. I've been in a situation where there was no set list, and after the song, everybody's looking at each other wondering what's next. That takes away from the show. That takes away from the flow of the show. And depending on where you are in the set, if it's a high energy, hi Tim, oh hi Moses, Minister Angela joined us, I think it's Elaine joined. Thank everyone for joining. We're talking about set lists for your show. Now, if you're in a high energy dance segment and you just finished your song and then nobody knows what's coming next, the music has come to a halt. The people are dancing and they want to keep going, but the music has stopped. So you want to avoid that. So that's the purpose of having a set list. That way, everyone knows exactly what's going to happen. You can go right into the next song. That goes with your planning when you're rehearsing and you're planning, and you do the segues where one song goes into another. It just keeps everything flowing. It keeps it going. So that is one point. I said this, that it helps with the flow of the show. But one thing I would like to say about a set list, it's not written in stone. I'm not saying that you have to do a set list and you have to do exactly the same way. No, you feel the crowd. If you have something planned, but but it doesn't seem like it's gonna flow with the show, you have every right to change. And that's happened to me. I had certain songs playing in a set, but I saw that the audience, they want to keep it moving, or they want more high energy. Then I know, oh, let me switch to this particular song. But it still helps to have that set list, because the song is on the list and the people know, oh, okay, well, we were going to do it here. Well, we'll just adjust. So that's just me. Not everyone agrees with that, or not everyone abides by that. But I found that having a set list keeps everyone on one accord. Everyone knows what's going on, and it's just I think it's a great thing to have. I mean, it can't hurt, but I found that it to be very helpful. So that is this week's tip, is because last week we talked about performing with a live band. So this kind of ties into that. When you're doing your show, have a set list, and the musicians knows what's going on, and you know what's going on, and the show flows. If you're just joining us, I'm New York vocalist Benita Charles. Every week I bring singing tips to beginner singers to help them become professional singers. And this week's show is very special because I have a special guest. Now, before I bring on the special guest, I would like to say I'm really excited about this, because this is actually something that I've been wanting to do and have been planning to do. And it just so happened I have a good friend of mine that's going to join me in a few minutes. But, so far, all these tips has just been me. But I would like to have experts on, people who are doing it also, people who know like some of the areas in the business that I don't know. Just because it's good to get a different perspective, and it's good to see like other people who are doing this and their experiences. So I'm very, very happy to have a special guest. If she's ready, I'd like to bring her on. We have today Minister Angela Williams from Deerfield, Florida. She, by day, is the Senior Director of Customer Service Operations for a publishing company. But in life, she is a minister. She ministers to women and children. She's the president of the women's organization, Women's Auxiliary for East Florida Coast Baptist Association. It's the largest in Florida, and it's the 4th largest association in the nation. She also is the creator of and director of a girls' ministry, A Girl and Her Pearls. And you can find this on Facebook. But it's my honor to have her here today. I first saw Minister Angela last year at the Activate conference in Atlanta, and she was so phenomenal. And I was so thrilled when we connected on Facebook, and we've been connecting ever since. She has such wonderful, I don't know, we have some noise going on here.
Yeah. Somebody's mad about something.
But she gave a beautiful benediction at the Activate conference, and she left a lasting impression on me. So I'm really thrilled that she's going to be here to give you some words of encouragement. We have a lot of non-singers on this program, so I would like to address to everyone. I mean, she speaks to everyone, but mainly this show is about beginner singers. But I want everyone to be encouraged, and I want everyone to live their destiny. And we were talking before the show, and it's so thrilling to me that her message today fits right into what I was hoping she would talk about. But I'm not going to give it away. I'm going to let her talk about it. So I'm going to bring you Minister Angela Williams. Hello.
Hi, Benita. How are you?
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here today.
Glad to be able to be here. Wasn't expecting to do anything, but I'm always prepared for a word to encourage people.
Well, I'm just going to let you take it away, whatever you'd like to share to the audience.
Well, thank you again for having me, and I'm just really glad I've been here in New York for the past few days and enjoying myself. And for this opportunity to just spend time with Benita was the real goal, but to be a part of her program today, Singing Tips, is really phenomenal. And as we began to talk about what would I talk about, I wanted to share with your audience, as I've shared with Benita and I shared with Aloria yesterday and Justice the day before, something that I just read about 3 weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, Pre-Packed for the Journey. And it's out of a book called Grace Moments by Max Lucado. And what it really talks about is how God has already destined us for our greatness, to accomplish our purpose in life. And I started reading it, and it just blessed me, because my favorite scripture, anybody who's watching and who really knows me, Angela Williams, knows that Jeremiah 29:11 is my favorite scripture. He says, I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says God, thoughts of good, not of evil, to give you hope for the future and an expected end. So when I was reading this particular devotion by Max, it just resonated in my spirit, man, because it just lined up with what I ultimately believe about life. So God, the only wise God, the creator of everything, the one that made us and made the heavens and the earth, when he created us in our mother's wombs, he created us with everything that we would need from the beginning to the end, because remember, he's God, so he already knows the end from the beginning. So he pre-packs us with all the tools, the resources, the peoples, even our curiosity about different things. So if you're listening today and you are desiring to become a singer, or you're wanting to be a producer or a preacher, everything that you need to accomplish that, God has given it to you. It's up to you now to seek it out inside of you, to find it and to discover it, so you can be what God wants you to be. You're not lacking anything. God is the God of everything. So everything you need, he's already provided. You just have to now walk into it. So that just blessed me. If you're going to be a doctor, he said he gives you a desire to care for people. If you're going to be a teacher, to teach people. If you're going to be a writer, you would have a love for writing. And he would give you that and then teach you how to do it. So God has pre-packed you everything you need. It's inside of you. You've got to pull it out of you that you might discover it and then walk in your destiny and walk in your purpose. Because once you begin to walk in your purpose and fulfill that, then you're going to begin to bless the lives of other people who are waiting on you to fulfill your destiny, that their destiny might be fulfilled, because you might be one of the resources that God has given them, or that they need to do what they are destined to accomplish. So God pre-packed you with purpose, on purpose, from the beginning. Even when you were even still in your father, before your father met your mother, God had already orchestrated the beginning and the end, and he already knows it. So today I just want to encourage you, no matter what it is that you want to be, a singer, a preacher, a teacher, a doctor, a lawyer, whatever you want to be, know that you have what it takes to be that. One of my favorite scriptures, other scriptures, is the one that Benita just referenced, the message that I gave last year at the Activate conference, as we were coming to the end of the conference. And the end of the conference is really the commencement of the conference. It's the beginning of what you've experienced from the conference. And we talked about John 17:4, when Jesus, the Son of God, stood before his Father talking to him, and he said, everything you've given me to do, I've done that. He was getting ready to go back to his Father, but he gave an account of his stewardship. He says, Father, everything you gave my hands, I did it. I accomplished it. Just as God prepared Jesus to come down through 42 generations to earth, God has prepared you for whatever you are destined to do. So today I just want to encourage you, go and fulfill your destiny. Do it with passion and purpose, and I tell you, you're going to experience an abundant life, because God never comes short of greatness. He is a great God. So have a great day. Thank you again, Benita, for having me here with you on Singing Tips. Just a word of encouragement.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. So now you see what I saw last year with Minister Angela. She was so phenomenal, and I really thank her because, and it's so funny, I had something in mind. I was thinking, well, if she didn't have anything to talk about, or she didn't know what she wanted to talk about, I wanted her to encourage people who didn't know what they want to do. But her message was so much greater than that we already have what it is. You know, God knows what we're destined for, and we have everything we need. It's just we just have to find it. This is our life process. It's finding those resources and using those resources and being who we are meant to be. And that is a message that I try to resonate every singing tip. I mean, even though this is directed to singers, but I have a lot of people who aren't singers on here who are watching, and I want to encourage them as well that whatever it is you want to do, just do it. And God has given you everything you need. And you've heard the other gurus, the successful gurus always say what you have it inside, and now you've heard it from Minister Angela that God has already preordained this for you. It's now up to you to live it. It's now up to you to use it. So thank you so much for joining me today. And the Activate Conference is coming up again. It's the 19th and 20th of September. It's going to be in Washington, D.C. this year. So we're all excited about it. And this is just give you a taste of the dynamic women who are at the Activate Conference. And, you know, I often heard people say that you should surround yourself with people who are either greater than you are, who are doing, similar things or better. So when you go to the Activate Conference, these are the type of women and men that you find. So many different wonderful seminars. So, I mean, I just wanted to give you a little taste of what I saw last year, and I really appreciate Minister Angela coming on and encouraging everyone. So I hope you guys enjoy Singing Tips this week. We'll be back again next week for another episode of Singing Tips. If there's anything you want me to talk about that I haven't covered, please connect with me on Instagram. It's BCM Sings on Instagram. I'm also on regular Benita Charles on Instagram if you can't find that one. But, you know, I'm not the type of person. I just want to say I'm open for suggestion. If there's something that you want to talk about or make any suggestions, just let me know. I'm open, but I just want to know I'm helping people. So I thank Minister Angela for helping me today to bring a message of hope to you. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, and thank you so much.